Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our video series. I always say series even though this is a channel and we're continuously doing like new things and stuff. So, we're starting a new week and we're gonna be doing some very cool videos this week. We're gonna go back and forth with the format. So this week's about topics. We're gonna be talking about several different things, and if we have some time, we'll start with a new project. Sounds good? So let's go. Today I'm gonna talk about something that I believe people are wanting to know, which is a portfolio. Portfolio is one of those things that a lot of people are very, what's the word? Very curious about, right? They don't really know what works as a good portfolio and what works or what doesn't work as a good portfolio. So I'm gonna go actually through three stages of my artistic career. I'm gonna show you my first portfolio, the one which actually got me the first gig, the first job that I had, and then we're gonna go through my second portfolio, which is the one that I used to enter my school, Noman, and then I'm gonna go through my portfolio after I exited school, when I graduated, when I had like my final portfolio, which is the one that I used to get my jobs out of school. After that, and I think I've already talked about this, I haven't uploaded or updated my portfolio like the way I should because I've been working as a studio rather than as an artist. So the portfolio that I use is the portfolio from the studio because I can say that I produce and help with everything. So let's stop the talking and let's jump real quick here. So some of you, where is it? Some of you remember from the initial, what's the word? Here we go. Here's my demo reel. I did have a demo reel. Is this the one? No, it's not. So some of you might remember the first like sort of things that I did, and I think I showed you like the door, like the sci-fi door. Where is it? Can't find my. I don't think I can. I haven't found my stuff. Give me just 1 second. Should be around here. Renders. There we go. Here we go. So if you remember from my story a couple of videos ago, I told you that I went to a school where they taught me 3D in a very intensive program in 3 months. Now, of course, 3 months is not enough to do some cool stuff, but I was able to create like this little cat character, this like realistic face, this like dragon even in ZBrush, the earlier versions of ZBrush, well, my version of a dragon. This little scenario where I showed different ways to handle textures. This like ZBrush character, which kind of reminds me from the guy from Small Soldiers, the movie. This door, this texture door. This render, I didn't do this robot. It was just doing like render. Back in the day, doing renders was actually really tricky. You didn't have HDRs in such an easy way, or it wasn't as easy to have like very realistic lighting. Nowadays, it's a lot easier. So yeah, I submitted this. Like all of these JPEGs that I submitted were the ones that got me the job at the studio. Now the title says what's a good and bad portfolio, right? So this is a completely bad portfolio. If I were to present this now to a like real or a better studio, a bigger studio, they would just like throw it into the garbage can. It's completely bad. Now it's not bad due to the quality of the pieces themselves, which by the way they are quite bad compared to what we can achieve now. But just the presentation, like I just sent them the JPEGs. I didn't have any sort of like format or any sort of like a design or anything. It was just like, here you go. This is what I know how to do. And they were looking for very new artists, so I was good enough for what they were looking for. Now after this, I kept on working. I kept on preparing, and I created a blog. Back in the day, remember when blogs were like the thing. So I created the blog. That's where the name Critical Hit actually was born. That's when I first thought about, I need to name this back in 2013. So yeah, a long time ago, 8 years ago. As you can see here, some of my progress. I was trying to like tell a story and stuff. And this one right here, this one is the one that that I submitted to get into my school. And as you can see, one of the first things that you're probably going to be able to understand is that I tried to make sure that all of the pieces looked like they were part of the same thing. Like I was presenting the whole thing as a whole, as a portfolio. And I added this like bevel things and a little bit of texture here. I wanted to look at cool. One of the things you're gonna realize is as you evolve as an artist, you're also gonna your like artistic taste is also gonna evolve. So when you start, you like very cool and dynamic looking things, and some artists go, or like myself, I like to go into more like minimalistic, simplistic things, and you're gonna see it in the last portfolio that I'm gonna show. So I'm gonna skip two pieces here, well, actually just one piece, this one right here, that's super small in the thumbnail, because it has some new drawings from my figure drawing class, and we don't want YouTube to make any sort of like weird thing, right? So whenever you present your portfolio, this is one of the biggest tips that they gave me when I was in school. You want to make sure that you open strong. Like your first piece on the portfolio has to be a very strong piece. And it's important that it's a strong piece because most of the times the guys that are doing the hiring are not the same guys that are doing the work. Like most of the times HR, human resources, is the one doing like the initial like analysis of all the candidates and picking which ones are the better. And without insulting them or anything, most of the time they don't have the knowledge of how things are done. So if I present a piece that's technically extreme, like super well done in the technical aspect, and I know any 3D artist will be able to tell that, but if I present it to someone that's in HR and they're not completely aware of all the tools, all the techniques, all the things needed to create that, they might disregard that piece as something simple, when you know, and anyone in the 3D world might know, that it is actually very impressive, right? So it was recommended to us that your first piece or your first couple of pieces are always really strong, because that's going to show you, or it's going to show whoever's looking at your portfolio, that you know what you're doing. So this was my opening piece, a very simple, minimalistic, tasteful, I would like to say, alien concept of that I did back in January 2013. Then I presented this character, a full character, and this is one of the things that I'm going to show in the last portfolio that's also very important. You want to make sure that whenever you present something, you present most of the times the final texture or render project, a clay render so that people can appreciate just the model, especially for character artists, just the model, and a wireframe is very important. I think I want to do an exercise about that in the next couple of days. So we're gonna go through the steps that I would do to prepare a portfolio render. Okay, so we'll talk about that. I'll show you how to do wireframe render, clay render, like all the cool stuff. So present the character and then the clay render character. This is something that it's recommended. I wouldn't do it this big nowadays, but just like naming the piece is important so that people know that you care about the piece and that you're actually giving it a little bit of history. When you did it, so that when people see the portfolio later down the line, they know, like if someone sees this right now, they're gonna be, oh, that's a character design that Abraham did, but that was back in 2013, so I would expect him to be better now in 2021, right? And which softwares do you use? In this case, I only use ZBrush and Photoshop. Nowadays, I can do like a whole pipeline, so this was the beginnings of my career as a 3D artist. Then I have this one, and this is another thing that people like to see on your creations in general. This, of course, is a very ugly environment painting. I'm not an illustrator. I don't pretend to be one. But this one is one that at the time I was proud of. And the reason why I showed this one is because I wanted them to know that I knew about atmospheric perspective, basic perspective, layering, a little bit of painting. So that my tools were a little bit wider. One of the things that they were focusing on back then is you had to be a strong traditional artist and digital artist before you go into 3D, because all of the things that you learn in the traditional realm apply directly on the 3D realm. So yeah, this was it. And here's the process. So this is a quick thumbnail that I did, a little bit of polishing, and then the final look. So they can see my workflow and they can understand that I'm not just cheating my way into the final image. I'm actually doing the whole process. I'm gonna skip this one. That's just a new drawing showing anatomy and just drawing in proportions. A master study. This is a very cool exercise that I recommend every single character artist to do. Just go and look for like all the old masters, like let's say Michelangelo, anatomy. And he did a lot of studies. Actually, this is the one that I copied. And just copy them. Just draw them from scratch. Just try to draw exactly what they drew, but try to understand what they were looking at, right? Like nowadays we have a lot more information about anatomy, muscles, tendons, ligaments and stuff, but just copying the master's work is really helpful to kind of like train our brains into thinking about the things that we need to think about. This is another bust that's actually of Leonardo da Vinci. This was done in ZBrush, V-Ray, and Photoshop. Again, trying to show that I know a little bit of render. This is a traditional sculpture that I did again back in 2013. And this one right here, as you can see, again, process. So basic shapes, basic forms, details, and then final render, different shots and stuff. I'm actually very proud about this statue. This one Last time I checked, it was kept at the school. They kept some of their favorites, so mine was selected, and I think it's still there. So yeah, that was a fun time. A little bit of traditional drawing, again, just what it was when I did it and stuff. More traditional drawing, digital drawing, the initial concepts, the refinement, and then the final elements. Which, by the way, this character is of course my own creation. I designed it from scratch. It's gonna be present soon, somewhere. I'm not gonna spoil where, but it's gonna be there. So you guys are gonna have access to him. This is again a little bit of a 3D model. Another statue that I did. Here I made a mistake. The photos are not as good. It's a very hard light. I would go for like a softer light nowadays. And it's a little bit incomplete. So it was the steampunk costume. That was what I was going for. Or that was what I was presenting, the costume itself. But I would finish it, to be honest. Like, just finish the face. Simple helmet or something. A comic strip I did from back of one of my old characters from D&D. I've been playing D&D for a long time, guys. And finally, this is an important thing. They also recommend finishing strong. Like, make sure that one of the last pieces or the last pieces are also really strong. Why? Because one of the main things that you want people to remember is your name. You want to remember, hey, this guy did a great job. So if you start high and then you keep the quality up and then you end up high again, you're gonna be in a really, really good position. Now, pay attention to what I did there, because I know some of you are like, oh, I can go high and then show all of my work and then go high again. No. We don't want that like U curve. We don't want to start strong and then lower our quality and then end strong, because that's just gonna show that you are trying to cheat your way into their minds by leaving the most important things at the beginning and at the end. You want all of your portfolio to be great, but you want the pieces that open and close your portfolio to be really like memorable. So I know most of my pieces here in this portfolio are really strong, but I personally like this one really or a lot, because it showed the story. It's kind of like a storyboard from like a movie or a video game or something, and it's well done technically. For the level that I had back then. Of course, I know that it's not perfect, but it was well done technically, and it allowed me to share who I was. So I opened the portfolio by making a statement. It's like, this is a character, and this is a character that I really like. And I end off my portfolio, or I close up my portfolio with, this is a piece, this is an environment piece that's telling a story. So in my mind, the way I wanted them to look at the portfolio is, this guy likes characters, but he understands that those characters are going to be part of a story. So he knows that he needs to make sure that all of the things that he builds are going to be like aimed towards that focus. If I were doing animation or any other thing, then my main focus would be different. But by presenting it in this way, I think I did a good job about transmitting that sort of what's the word? Of like focus, aim. Like, it tells them a little bit about myself, because in this career, guys, one of the cool things, or one of the things that you need to remember, is that our portfolio speaks louder than our curriculum. It really doesn't matter. Like, I've had a lot of students and people that I've worked with through my career, and most of them, I've never asked them their credentials. Like, I don't care where they studied. The only thing I care about is what can they do? Like, what's your portfolio? What's your expertise? That's the kind of thing that I go for. So this is my Vimeo page. I like having my Vimeo page because I upload a lot of things for the classes I teach back here in Mexico. I just want to see if I can, because here, yeah, there we go. So this right here is my demo reel. This is the one that I presented as my what's the word, like thesis, if you want. So this was my graduation piece, and it has several works of which I'm very proud. And I'm gonna turn on the volume here, the desktop audio, so you're gonna hear the music. But music's not important; it's just for dramatic effect. So let's go. You might hear it echo because I don't have my headphones right now. So again, we tried to start strong. This was, I would say, my strongest piece from my school years. It's this ice giant. It's on my art station, and I showed a full render and then a clay render with the wireframe, as I mentioned. Let me just pause here real quick, because I want to show you something interesting here. Let me make this bigger. And this is very, very important. When you're presenting your portfolio, the most important thing about the portfolio is, of course, the work, the render, in this case, the giant. However, it is also important that you mention which softwares you use in a simple way. I still think right now it's a little bit heavy on the size for the softwares, and in this case, the concept wasn't mine. I took the concept and adapted it from a guy named Alex Constant. I suggest you guys look him up in our station. He's really talented. And I took one of his concepts from this like Ice Giant character and adapted into this guy right here. So yeah, that's the first piece. So we start strong, right? Again, I'm making a statement on what are the things that I care the most in the 3D world, which is characters. That's my main focus. Now let's keep going. Then I added this environment, which was by the concept was why am I saying was? The concept was from a guy named Eitan Sana, which is super famous. See, this guy is super famous. He did I think he did the concept art for Naughty Dog's Last of Us. Oh my god. Sorry. So yeah, again, now this one is a little bit different because this is an animation. There's a little bit of a camera animation going in, and then I show you and this is one thing I really like. I show you some progress pictures of how I ended up like making sure that we got this result. So yeah, and there's the concept. Very important. Adding the concept is also a really nice technique, and it's quite recommended because that way art directors and whoever is seeing your portfolio can see how close were you to the original concept, which I think I was fairly close. Like the general proportions, you're probably never gonna be like pixel perfect because sometimes when the concept artists do things, they don't take into account a lot of things that happen in 3D production, so you're gonna have to tweak and move a couple of things. But I think I got like pretty close. This one is also, I think last time I checked, it was also on the school, like a big poster that they did. They sometimes took the students' works and they just decorated the whole thing. This one, Echo 13. Again, this concept was by Noire Studio. I couldn't find which specific artist did it, but one thing that I really focus on, hopefully you're getting that from my portfolio here. One of the things I focus on this portfolio is I wanted to make sure people knew that I knew how to model and texture and render and tell a story. Again, story for me is super important. So telling a story in just one frame was very fundamental for me. So that's why this guy, of course, is just one, like duplicated a couple of times. And yeah, so just this guy's like exploring the moon or something. And again, the render passes that I did to compose the final image. And we have a turntable of just the character. I should do like a revision of this guy. The concept, the original concept that was adapted. This was another concept, and I like this one because I have more progress pictures. You can see from the initial blocking all the way to texturing, and then finally post-production and render. So, yeah. And finally, this was my closing piece. Rodan, another of my characters. Just a portrait with a little bit of nice light, all the render passes, and the final image. This was, as it says right there, this was my original concept, my original design, and I did everything. Texturing, modeling, the hair, everything, the ankle back here. So as you can see, guys, my main, just 5 pieces. It was the Ice Giant, it was the Mars scene, it was the Echo 13, the robots, the village, and this guy. And with those 5 images, I was able to show anyone that I can model and texture organic and inorganic objects. I can do props, I can do environments, and I can tell a story, which again, for me was really important to share that. And it's very important also that you always close your portfolio with your contact information. I don't think this site is up anymore. I think I dropped it when I started the school over here. So it's probably, yeah, it's not up anymore. But nowadays I have the school here in Mexico. So that's the main site, and all of the gallery for all the projects that we've done, it's right here. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's my journey through portfolios. I definitely need to create a new one. I haven't done it in several years, and it will be, I think, very important for myself to have an updated one. So maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it and I'll show it. No, it's not maybe. I will do it and I'll show it to you guys as soon as I have it. But just to close this off and just to finish the general advice, make sure your information is in the portfolio so people can reach out to you. Make sure you only include the best things that you have on your portfolio. If you are not sure about a piece, more often than not, that means that that piece is not ready, because if you're not sure, then it doesn't matter who sees it, they're not gonna like it. If you don't like it, no one else is. It's gonna like it. Make sure you don't do it super long. For instance, this one's just a minute and 40 seconds, so it's not important. These guys go through portfolios very quickly, so you want yours to be like right on point, right there. Open strong, close strong, and keep them like really interested at the end. So very important, all of those tips. Hopefully you guys like them, and yeah, this is it. New week, guys. Let's start. Let's go with all the energy, all the force, and we'll do some very cool stuff. Leave us in the comments what kind of things do you want us to talk about. What kind of things would you like to see? We have the sci-fi helmet pending. If you guys want me to continue with that, let me know. I check the comments every day to make sure that we're uploading content that's interesting to you. So the community has been growing very nicely. You can see that our subscribers are going up. So make sure to leave your like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.